Today we're going to talk about a very important topic. But before I start, I want to say something. Some of you, quite a few of you were here last time, and I did make a mistake. There was a slip of the tongue when I tried to say osteoporosis and osteopenia, and I mistakenly said it as arthritis. So I want you to know about that, and if any one of you watch the replay on YouTube, I did make a comment there, and I don't know, I mean, I thought something, but the word came out the other, so I apologize for it. And then the other...
What are the three distinctions? Osteopenia and osteoporosis.
Yeah, so I was talking about how the body really tried to compensate that acidosis due to a very acidic terrain, and then the body would try to use the calcium because calcium is very alkaline forming. And so when people's terrain is too acidic, oftentimes the body would try to buffer it with all the different things, and then one of them is calcium. And that's when the body would try to go to your bone and then pour out that calcium to neutralize the over-acid state in your blood. And that's when it has a lot to do with the osteoporosis. And oftentimes when people are dealing with osteoporosis, they would try to supplement with calcium, but this is not the right answer, because when you do that, eventually those extra calcium already being drawn out from the bone, and now you are giving your body more calcium. Eventually the calcium could go to a place where they're not supposed to be. So for example, we often see after people being diagnosed with osteoporosis, they will end up having a kidney stone because that extra calcium in the blood or in the body. And so the root cause is not to just, giving the calcium. The root cause is really how do you change your terrain, change your body so that it's more towards the alkaline forming, and so that your body wouldn't draw calcium out of your bone.
You're saying that your body's internally doing this.
Yes.
But at the same time, when you have cravings, is that another way that it manifests? Like, I don't know why I'm drinking so much water, or I don't know why I want to have ice cream or so much.
We'll get to it today.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about gut. It's about your microbe. Yeah, it's about the microbe in your body. So we'll get to it. So I'm going to do a little bit of a recap from what we did last one. It's about the terrain. So I just told Joanne that we look at the body very differently in regenerative health. We look at the body as a whole. So when we are dealing with anything, any problems, the symptoms or imbalance, there's always multi-systems involved. There cannot be just one thing. Like if you are dealing with bloating, for example, it's not just the gut issue. It's just the gut issue. There are always different things involved because every part in the body is connected. And so we look at the whole body as a terrain. And that's the kind of example I give to you. So just imagine, because our body is 70% water and then 99% water molecule. And so that when the environment is not right, all the imbalances and chaos would occur. And I try to draw this from the spirituality point of view because we were all born whole, right? The same with our body. We are designed to heal. All the healing mechanism is already equipped in every one of us. Any imbalance is that because the terrain or the environment is out. And then what we do, healing or health, actually is about finding the ways back to what we are designed to do. Okay, so this is a very, very different concept than the mainstream medicine. And if we don't get this part right, we will always just fighting against. But in reality is our body is working so hard, try to keep us alive. Okay, any symptoms that you are experiencing is a result of a previous imbalance that the body tried to compensate. And so instead of just, oh, I'm broken, or I'm betrayed by my body, or all those kind of things, just bring the love back to your body. You know, it's exactly the same principle that we apply to our soul body. Okay? Any comments, questions so far? No? Okay, great. So let's move on to the gut issue today, because this is a very important one. So again, if you look at it, we're talking about the environment, right? And so everything we try to do is really to just correct that environment that's already off. And then by doing that, the body will regulate by itself. It will repair, regenerate, heal on its own. So this is something I want to tell you is very interesting. So the gut is actually the gateway of, gut is the gateway to all the diseases, but also to all the healing. Okay, and we often say that our gut is actually the inner garden. It's a very massive ecosystem in our body. Although they take the small area in our body, but it has a lot of going on, a lot of species and microbes in it. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit of background about the gut research. Do you know that we are more microbe than human? You heard of that? The recent years, the gut study has been really advancing. We learned a lot over the past 10, 20 years, especially the 10 years. I don't know if you heard about this Human Genome Project. It started in the 90s, and then finally, I think it's year 2003, the scientists found that we have far less genes than we expected. Like our gene, the human genes, we only have about 23,000 genes, and that's only slightly more than fruit fly and flea. And we thought that we are the most advanced species in all sentient beings, and then we realized we are not that much more than the fruit fly. And this is a very important discovery because of this discovery, now the science started kind of shift the paradigm. Oh, if not our gene that make our body so complex, then what could that be? So they started looking at the microbe, the germ, all the viruses, the bacteria in our body. So by 2010, the Human Microbiome Project found that our bodies were like a 90% microbe and only 10% human cells. Okay, so we are 10 to 1. We are outnumbered 10 to 1. That was 2010. But now another 10, 15 years passed. Of course, we have more and more discovery. Now, this chart is very interesting. It kind of gives you a visual, impression. You can see where the human cells are. This is from 2015. Okay, 2015, they found that you can see that on the right side, that's the gene. The little front part of the foot there, that's our total gene. Our human genes, only the rest is all covered, occupied by the microbes in our body and on our body, okay? And then on the left side, that's the cells number. Okay, in 2015, they found that, well, it's probably, instead of 10 to 1, it's more like, 70% of the cells, the microbe cells, and then 30% of human cells. But now at 2024, they found out that ratio is actually closer. Now it's close to 1 to 1. But still, the microbes are more than human cells in our body. Okay, so that statement is still true. We are more microbe than human. And so because of all these discoveries, now they are trying to look at, so what make human body or human healing capacity so amazing and magical? They turn the focus to the microbe, because we really rely on these microbes to help us do a lot of functions in our body that we never really imagined before. All right, so this is the recent number. Oh no, this is 2010. Yes, recent number. Now we're about like a 30 trillion human cells, that's on average. And then our microbe cells in our body is like 37 trillion, 38. So it's about 1 to 1. Okay, but if you look at the genes, again, we see the chart before. We only have 23,000 genes. And the microbe on our body, they take 2 million genes. Okay, they do a lot for us. So the other thing I would like to say is that, I'm sorry, I feel like my, this and that is not really matching well. Okay, I'm gonna go by that. This is, oh, you know what? Because I accidentally hit it, that's why. No, the other way. No, back, oh, sorry, not very savvy here. All right, I'm gonna finish this background first. So the gut-brain connection, we all say that, oh, I have this gut feeling, right? Gut feeling. We never say that, oh, I have this brain feeling that something is not right. We have this gut feeling, and turned out that we are all right about that. So there's a gut-brain connection we call gut-brain axis. And interestingly, when they did the microbe study, they found out that among the communication between gut and brain, 90% come from the gut to the brain. Only 10 come from the brain to the gut. And so we thought that brain is the boss, and then gut is the second brain, but turned out that who is the real boss? Gut is, okay. So what is human microbiome? If you can look at it there, I think I didn't have that for you. So they are made of 40,000 species of bacteria, fungi, a protozoa, parasites, and even mitochondria. Have you heard of the term mitochondria? Mitochondria is the little power plant inside each cell in our body, and our body relies on mitochondria to produce energy to perform all the bodily functions. And turned out that mitochondria is a bacteria. And somewhere in that human evolution, the mitochondria, the bacteria, kind of fused with human cell, and then now they become part of us. So we are part of that ecosystem. We are part of the nature. And the microbes, all those microbes really runs our body. Think about this. So what do those microbes do? What they do is they can really affect, in my last workshop, I talked about how those microbes can help turn on or off our genes. And so we're gonna go deeper into this today. But just know that even in our blood, 1/3 of the blood content is made of microbe metabolites. And those microbial metabolites are the force to determine which gene to be turned on or to be turned off.
Could you say that last sentence again? 1/3 of the blood is...
1/3 of the blood, 1/3 of the content in the blood is made of microbial metabolites. And those microbial metabolites determine which gene to turn on or off. And so if you understand that, you will know that what kind of microbes in our body plays a huge role, right? Because the kind of a microbe will have a specific kind of metabolites that would determine, yes.
I'm a very visual person, so I'm listening to what you say, and I'm trying to figure out a cell.
It's being recorded, so.
I have to play ignorance because I only know about cells being so much part of us.
Mm-hmm.
So the micro, I'm trying to visualize where they are in terms of a cell.
It's wild, right?
Excuse me?
Yeah, it's wild, I know. Yes.
Are they? And all animals have micros, micro you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have as many as a fruit fly, or you're saying.
Well, our genes is slightly more than a gene of fruit fly. Yeah.
And so the cell, I always thought the cells regenerate.
Right.
Every day or something. Do micro.
Did you probably miss the part that I talked about the mitochondria? Mitochondria is the little power plant inside each cells in our body. And we have trillions of cells. Okay, and then each cell contains, I forgot how many mitochondria, probably it depends on the body part, different body part. It ranges from like 20,000 to 2 million mitochondria in just one cell. And we have trillions of cells. I know, it's mind-boggling. I know it's very mind-boggling, but just imagine this. Every cell in our body perform all kinds of different functions every day for us, right? Every single second. Those cells rely on the mitochondria, which is a bacteria, to produce energy called ATP to run our cellular functions. So the mitochondria is the bacteria. Therefore, our body is actually run by the bacteria.
It's funny because I think we're always, or I think that we're saying bacteria is a bad thing.
Exactly. That's something I want to get to it. So we got it all wrong.
Yeah.
That's why it got us into so much trouble these days.
So in utero, does the fetus have the bacteria already, or did
They get it from the mother, yeah, from the mother.
So from the placenta or whatever, they get that mitochondria bacteria?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the blood transfer, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll get to it. What's affecting our microbial composition in every one of us, because we all have different microbes in our body. I mean, there's some, it's all will be there anyway, but there's some in terms of the ratio or even the diversity of the microbes varies with each person because it's strongly affected by how we live our life. You know, what we eat, what we do, what we think, what our living environment, what our toxic level is. So it all affects that. We're gonna get to it later. But I'm just gonna give you an overview so you understand what's going on. Okay, is it okay so far? Yeah, just knowing that we are not part of the nature. That's the bottom line. We are the nature, okay? And that whatever bacteria or fungi or protozoa that we found in the nature is so supposed to be in us. But what we are so off at this point, now we're missing so much of them that we get ourselves into trouble, okay? So the factors or the functions of microbe, we'll continue with the topic. It helps us digest the food, right? It also creates nutrients for us, especially the vitamin B's and the vitamin K's, and it also regulates our metabolism. This keeps falling off. And also, it produces neurotransmitters. So let me just share my experience with you. All the clients that I've worked with which is at this point probably more than 200. I would say 98% of them, 98, 99. Doesn't matter what their diagnoses are, doesn't matter what their symptoms or what their chronic condition they're dealing with, they all have gut issue. Because gut, like I said, is a gateway to all the diseases and therefore to all the healings as well. Okay, so every one of them who come to me, the first thing we repair the gut. No exception. Everyone repair the gut. So the neurotransmitters, 90% of serotonin and 75% dopamine, those are feel-good hormones that are produced not just in our brain. We thought that it's in our brain, but mostly produced in the gut. And that's why people with depression, brain fog, anxiety, all those kind of brain-connected issues, they all have leaky gut. We all have to repair the gut. Now, I will talk about how leaky gut lead to leaky brain later. It also helps regulate our immune function because 80% of the immune cells live right on the other side of our gut lining. The other side. Okay, I will show you the picture later.
Can I ask you something?
When you're talking about moods,
Mm-hmm.
living in Alaska, so much of it is external with the
The light. Yes.
So how does that light work with what's inside of us? Because no matter what I did, I couldn't stop the depression in the wintertime because of the loss of light.
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, again, go back to the concept, we are part of the nature. So light affects the gut microbe in our body as well. Food that we eat, the lifestyle that we choose, light is a very important one because think about this, why every one of us, we don't need to recharge our body at night like we recharge our cell phone. And then we still get up in the morning and the nervous system is still running, our heart still pumping. We rely on light. Okay, light, the solar light, the light from the sun is how we charge human body. And even on a day like this, we don't see, it's a cloudy day. As long as there's natural light, we absorb light through the sun. And so it's very important when you are, or when anyone who is dealing with, mood disorders, you get out to the sun to get the sun as much as possible. Yeah, but there's so many factors involved. Yeah, but it's so, there's another way that we're gonna talk about because just grounding itself can help too. Just skin contact with the earth. It could be barefooted on your yard. It could be, I don't know, swimming in the lake, in the creek, or walking on the beach, which is challenging for us here. But it's just, there's so many ways.
It's frozen ground in the wintertime with 2 or 3 hours of sunlight.
Right. And so I know that there's a light box available.
I use that.
Yeah, and then also there's, all kinds of grounding products these days. I mean, it's all kind of the quick fix thing. But the fastest way is to really just back to the nature or stay in the nature as much as possible. Just sitting in your backyard, just.
Or move out of Alaska.
Right. So yeah, you can see it also helps us detox, chemicals and heavy metals and all that, and it helps us produce energy. Like I said, like mitochondria. So what's the factor that affects your microbiome? This is, Lisa mentioned about the fetus. That's why we encourage natural birth, because if you do the C-section, the baby doesn't go through the birth canal. It doesn't kind of just pick up all the microbes through the mother's bottom. And these days now, because they know how important it is to the babies, because that first initial stage of development in life is very important. It affects how this kid will grow up as a healthy adult or not. So now some hospitals started doing the smearing thing. Like, if mother is having a C-section, they will swab all the bacteria in the bottom of the mom and then just smear the baby over as a way to compensate it. Yeah, yeah, and it's very, it's effective that way. Why go back there? Okay, so again, the usual suspect, you all know that, breastfed or not, that would affect, because there's very interesting in a breast milk, there's this specific bacteria only happen during a certain period of time when the mother is nursing. And so if the baby who are not breastfed, they didn't get to have that particular one. Okay, so again, I mentioned a few times, those are the factors that could affect the composition of the microbe in our body. Right, the stress is a big one. Alcohol, pharmaceutical drug, or just overall toxic load, because we live in a very toxic environment, all the things throwing at us every single day. Okay, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. So, antibiotic and depression. This is a study done, and I didn't look at the study, but Dr. Zach Bush, who I admire very much, he is a triple board certified physician, and he said this in one podcast. He said that one course of antibiotic will raise the risk of depression by 24%, and then 2 courses within a year increased by 52%, and then anxiety too. And so I would like to, today, of course, I'm bringing you all the bad news, but at the same time, I would like to empower you, so I will give you some solution. So for my own line of work, of course, when clients want to do the antibiotic, I would always say, don't do it, right? Don't do it, but I need to give them but how can I do it instead? So recently, I started adding there are 2 natural antibiotics that's very efficient and very, very powerful. And one is called nanosilver. And then the other one is called biocidin. The nanosilver is a silver, but it's not. I know you probably heard about colloidal silver. It's different. Nanosilver is a very, very even smaller particle that can get into the entire body, because the colloidal silver is too big. It only stays in your gut. It doesn't really go through the lymphatic system or to get to the cellular level. But nanosilver is very powerful. That's one. And the other one,
Is that
nano. It's a nano particle, a lot of nano that we heard about now. There's nanosilver by the company called Avini, A-V-I-N-A. I think you need to have a code. I'm not sure, I need to double check with that. The other one is an herbal combination. It's called biocidin, B-I-O-C-I-D-I-N. Biocidin is a combination of 18 different herbs, and it's been developed by a Chinese medicine doctor back in the 80s, and it's been used throughout all the naturopath, functional medicine doctor clinics. That's proven to be very effective. So I would say, if you feel like you are prone to every cold, flu, or having a repeated infection, have nanosilver or biocidin available at hand. That's a good idea. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about leaky gut. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
The term leaky gut? So what happened to leaky gut is, you can see, so that the straight line there with the arrow, that's your gut, right? And all the cells is by the gut lining. Okay, if we turn that kind of a sideways, you can see this is a cell. Now, the gut lining is supposed to be very tightly connected. And there's a thing called tight junction. It's literally the name for the area. It's called tight junction. They're only 1 cell thick. but they're supposed to be very tightly connected. When the gut is leaky, it creates that extra space, then now all the food that you eat, if they're not properly digested, they would kind of just leak through it. As you can see, there's a space there. And then the immune system, our immune system is very well tacked, if you will. So it knows that if a food that's digested properly and get into the system, it's supposed to be a certain size. If it's bigger than that, even it's spinach, it's kale, it's very healthy food, the immune system will consider it as an invader because it's like, oh, this is not the right size, it's not right. It will start mounting the attack, which is the immune response. That's when people started having all the allergy symptoms, okay? And then if that leaky gut is not fixed over time, then that constant immune response, the constant inflammation become a chronic inflammation. That's when you started having all the issues. Whatever you eat, you just don't feel right. You will have the skin issue, or as it goes longer, it will develop autoimmune condition. And it doesn't matter what kind of autoimmune. It could be Hashimoto, it could be rheumatoid arthritis, it could be lupus, it could be multiple sclerosis. Doesn't matter which kind of autoimmune condition. The root cause is the leaky gut. It starts with the gut being leaky, and that hasn't been. But if you go to a doctor, they will give you, oh, now you have all the symptoms, so we're just gonna give you steroid to suppress your immune system. It doesn't want you to respond, but then the root cause is still there. So that's why very common when people were diagnosed with one autoimmune, in just a few years, they will have a second one, they will have the third one, they will have fourth one. I've known a woman who's in her early 30s. She's dealing with 5 autoimmune conditions, and that happened within just 3 years. And that just tells me alone because her gut is a mess, okay? And then that leak has never been fixed. Same with the allergy. Allergy is not just a very benign thing, and it's the beginning of all the cascade effect down the road. Now, when you have leaky gut, the next thing it does, remember the body is a whole, right? All those immune cells attacking the food particle that it doesn't recognize, or the pharmaceutical drugs, because that's a toxin. The immune system is wise. It says this is not something that our body needs. It will start to mount the attack. If that lasts long enough, all those circulation of immune cells mounting attack will eventually get to your brain. And that's when we call leaky brain. When you have leaky brain, if you have leaky brain, that means the lightest symptom will be brain fog. It's like there's always something going on in my mind. I cannot think clearly. Far down the road, there will be depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all those kind of things. So this is kind of again, that's the gateway. That's a gateway. So all the things that we heard right here, all the things, all the diagnoses that I mentioned, every one of them, really we just have to start with the repairing the gut first. Once you get that part, it's really, you will be, the body just finally have a chance to take a break. Like, oh yeah, no more invaders come in. And then the body can start regulate again, hopefully soon. I mean, everyone is different, but there's a process to it. All right. Any questions so far? Is it clear?
Yes.
So far, so good? Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, I mentioned how the food that we eat really create what kind of microbe in our body. So I want to encourage you to think about this after today's workshop. You're not eating for you. You're really eating to feed your microbes. Okay? So we all create our own media. We create our own media. So the food that we eat will decide what kind of microbes in our body. And-
Just one question.
So this picture up there, oops. Hello. The cells on the right, how did they get in that place? Is that from eating glyphosate and
Inflammation.
processed food and?
Yes.
Yeah, what happens to those cells when you eat that food? Is they start shrinking and stuff?
Yeah, so
getting-
in the later, I can mention
Okay.
it. So one of the things that we found in modern life that really damaged our gut microbes the most is glyphosate. Glyphosate is the main ingredient of Roundup. And pretty much like 99% of the world is sprayed with Roundup. And what happens, I have a slide later, I believe. Because glyphosate was invented as an antibiotic in the 70s and later used as a mineral chelator in farming. So when the plants are sprayed with glyphosate, and they always have residual. First of all, it kills the microbe in the soil, okay? And second of all, because it's a mineral chelator, it will make the mineral in the soil unavailable to the plants. So by the time we eat our fruits and vegetables, they're nutrient deficient. They're also laden, not laden, but they always have like 75% of the food and 90% of the beverage in the market is tested for glyphosate. And so we have that in our body. And because of that, our gut microbes has been affected or killed off. And
it
yes.
says inflammation. So if you know you
Yes.
have inflammation in your body, because you have that indicator, whether it's swelling or not feeling well,
Yeah.
then you know that your cells look like the ones on the right versus the left. So how do you get your cells back to?
Yes, well, I will
Fill in,
talk
like-
about that, yeah, how to repair the gut.
Could you spell glyphosate?
Glyphosate, G-L-Y, P-H-O-S-A-T-E. Yeah, it's the main ingredient in Roundup. Yeah, if you Google it, you will see. And then the other thing that glyphosate causes that is really, really bad news for human health is that it destroys the, what we call the shikimate pathway, which is used by our microbe to produce amino acids. And our body, you see, we only have 23,000 genes, but how do we perform so many complex bodily functions is by combining different proteins in the body. And there's only like 23 proteins. 14 of them made in our own body. The other 9 we call essential amino acids. They have to come from the food. And that's why it's called essential. Okay, now what the glyphosate does to the microbe is that it destroys the pathway, the shikimate pathway, that would compromise the protein folding in our body. And the example that I heard, I can't remember from whom, but basically it says that it's like you're trying to spell a sentence, but you no longer have those vowels. So you cannot spell a complete sentence anymore. And so this is like one insult after another. I will have solutions at the end. Don't fret. Okay, this is the leaky gut lead to all different kind of condition. And you can see everything starts with the gut. Everything. There's no exception. Okay, I'm just going to show you this. Probably will be easier. Leaky gut, leaky brain. Okay, what happens is when you do, like if you have a lot of sugary tree, or if you have regular alcohol consumption, or you're taking pharmaceuticals, or you have a lot of stress, or you're not sleeping, all those kind of things really affects your microbe. And the first step will be, it will make the ratio of the good guys and bad guys out of balance first. And that's called dysbiosis. And so oftentimes when people eat kale, for example, it's supposed to be very healthy and good for you, but why I feel bloated when I'm eating all the healthy food? Because your gut microbe is already off. You have more bad guys than the good guys, okay? So the first step is dysbiosis, and if we don't adjust it, the next step, it will become inflamed in your gut. And what the inflammation does is eventually weaken that gut lining and eventually lead to leaky gut. So there's a progression to it. And when you have leaky gut, you will have allergy, you have autoimmune condition that I mentioned earlier, and you will have leaky brain. The other thing I want to say is that, when the microbe is not right, all the food is not digested properly, so it will leave those undigested in the food putrefied in the gut. And that kind of create another environment for inflammation, and also to feed all the bad guys. They're just potting in your gut. So the big picture, this is what I was talking about. If glyphosate destroy the soil, weaken the plants, and then the food that we get, that's why the food these days are so nutrient depleted, and it destroys our gut health as well. All right, so right now, we have like 80% of the population suffer from bloating, gas, indigestion, and about 60 to 70 million Americans suffer from, or diagnosed with some form of digestive diseases. And 1 in 5 Americans has IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and the number is rising. And it's all because of the environment that we live in now. It's just, it's unbelievably, well, I don't want to say any sad words because there are ways to really reverse it. But it's just so that you are aware.
In addition, I hear that there's a lot of plastic.
Microplastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, I hear there's
a lot of microplastic as well in our system.
Yes.
So I didn't know how that plays
That's
into
only
this.
one environmental toxin. There's so many different forms of environmental toxins. Microplastic is now become more aware. Fortunately, people are more aware because all the things, our clothing, the bottled water that we drink from, and even the personal products, there's a lot of microplastic in it. So one of the things that I use to really help clients detox and pull out all those chemicals, environmental toxins, I use zeolites, Zeolites. Zeolites is a natural organic compound. It comes with a cage. It's very interesting. When you take zeolites, it will kind of mob through your system and catch all those microplastics, organic volatile compounds, fluoride, all the chlorine, all those, or heavy metals. It will put it in the cage and then pee out. But it has to be a right kind of zeolites because there's so many now in the market. The only thing I use, again, is from the Avini. Lisa, I sent you the link, right? That particular company, because they are category creator, what we call category creator. They are the one who started using that zeolites, and then others just follow.
What is that company called? How do you
It's called
spell that?
Avini, Avini. Yeah.
And it's Zeolite that you're saying?
Zeolite,
Zeolite,
Zeolites. If you're interested, you can text me or send me a social media if you're on it, And then I think I can get a code for you.
Is that a substitution for hydration with water?
No, it's nothing to do with the hydration. It's not for the hydration. It's for pulling out the toxins in your body.
I have a friend that mines it in Alaska, that has a zeolite mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, but you have to be very careful. Like I said, there's so many zeolites in the market right now. You want to make sure it's a clean catch zeolite. That means because zeolite's nature, it would grab onto whatever toxins in the environment. And if that zeolite that's been mined is not cleaned of all those toxins already in the mine, then the cage is already full. You know what I'm saying? So by the time you take it, the cage is already full. There's no capacity to pull out the toxin from your body.
He's not mining like that.
Well, because zeolite's been used for a lot of industrial use as well. So
Yeah,
you want to
this
make
is
sure.
Just
Yeah.
a one-man show.
Oh,
with the
yeah,
zeolite.
yeah.
So
You want to make
there's
sure
no-
the zeolite is
there's no,
properly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pure.
Yeah, but you can't just take it. You can't just take it without a certain, I think, alchemizing or something. So what can you do now? What can you do? Well, first of all, what we want to do really is not about the numbers of microbe. It's about the diversity that we want in our body. Okay, so the studies show that people who live in the city versus those who live in the country, they have the same amount of microbe numbers. The difference is the variety of microbes. And at the beginning of the class, I said that we probably have about 40,000 species in our body. 1/3 of it is missing in all of us because of how we live our life. So what we can do now, first of all, we want to encourage the variety of food that we eat, all the different colors of plants, the fruits, because they still have some coming from the soil, right? And then fermented food, you all heard about that. I would encourage you to, if it's possible, to make your own fermented food, because even the fermented food from the store, that could be monocultured. And we want the diversity, because in the store, they want to make sure the quality is stable or the flavor is always the same. And so they would oftentimes monoculture it. But if we make it at home, say we make sauerkraut at home, it only you only add salt to the veggie. It's so simple. But it will not just multiply the microbe on the veggie itself. It incorporates all the microbe in your environment. And it will make your specific microbe in your body based on your living environment. Now the other thing is that, nature, get back to the nature. That's always the answer. It doesn't matter what kind of issue they're dealing with. Healthy lifestyle choices, we all know about that. But I want to say this particular thing, I want to talk about probiotics because I'm sure you probably taken some of that yourself. Again, we need 40,000 species. The probiotics only provide 3 to 7 species. What the research now found since 2018 is that the probiotics initially will help because the majority of the people's gut is so messed up. So just those few species at the beginning will help, but if you take it long term, it become the factor that suppress the diversity in your gut. And it's equally suppressed as if you're taking antibiotic. So there's a solution now is, I use 2 of them. One is called ION, I-O-N, ION Gut Support. This gives you the environment, gives you the terrain. This product is developed by Dr. Zach Bush that I mentioned earlier. He is a pioneer in all this regenerative farming and soil health. And so ion is basically dirt water. It's just dirt water. It's cultivated from, it's the water extracted from 60 million years old soil. And so it has all the environment, all the microbial metabolites from that soil. And that's why it provides the environment for you. So when you take that ion, you're not just promoting certain species. You have all of them in your gut, and that's what we want. Okay, ion. I think it's on sale right now because the Memorial Day sale is like at 35% off. I just got mine. I've been taking it, and my running low. I just refilled it yesterday. So we encourage you to check it out. The other products that will help pull out the glyphosate in your gut, bring down the inflammation, and then also repair the gut. So all these two products will all repair the gut. Okay, it will repair the tight junction. The other one is called Biomedic. It's by a company called Peilin. It brings down the inflammation and repair the gut like 75% in 6 weeks. So those are two products. And when people will come to me at the beginning, we always start with the Biomedic because it's part of the protocol that I use. It helps replenish the good bacteria pretty fast because there's prebiotic in it. But once clients are stabilized after like 2-3 months, I will switch them to ion. Because ion is really what we want at the end. We want the environment. We don't want just the monoculture.
Second company name?
Purim, P-U-R-I-U-M. This you need to get the code from me. Yeah, I don't know if there any way I can send a code so that you can, because you can get $50 gift card just using my code. Yeah, once you purchase $75 or something. So it's very.
Vouch for Purium, it's really good.
Yeah, it's very pure. Yeah, let me see. So, any questions so far? So if you have skin issue, you have gut issue. If you have autoimmune, you have gut issue. If you have hormonal chaos, you have gut issue. Okay, if you have anxiety, depression, gut issue. Okay, always go back to it. I want to talk about acid reflux a little bit because, like I said, 80% of the population suffering from bloating. The acid reflux, again, if you go to your family doctor, they say, oh yeah, you have too much acid. At least we all been told this way. So they will give you the antacid, right, to suppress the production of your stomach acid. And that's the very, very wrong first step that creates a lot of problem down the road, because the reason you have too much acid is actually because you produce too little stomach acid. And why? You may be wondering. So again, because we need to look at the body as a whole. Now, so there's one flap. Well, we have two flaps, sandwich our stomach. Okay, one flap on top and then one flap at the bottom. Now, when you are not producing enough stomach acid, that flap, let me start over. So our stomach acid has to remain at the battery acid level. It's like a pH 1.5 to 2.4. And the reason we need that strong acid is because we need to break down food, especially animal food, okay? And after the stomach break it all down, it will go down to the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine. And that's when the digestive juice, digestive enzyme from pancreas will be released to absorb and digest the food further. But if you don't have enough stomach acid, now the food that you eat, you don't have enough acid to break the food down, the body will say, hey, this is not complete. This process is not complete. It won't go down. That flap at the bottom of the stomach would like reluctantly half open. because it said, no, this is not right. And the pancreas, in order for pancreas to release that digestive juice, the food has to be reaching a certain pH. It has to be acid enough. And then the pancreas will say, oh yeah, now I got a signal, I can release my pancreatic juice, which is alkaline. Okay, so when you don't have enough stomach acid, now you cannot go down, but the flap on top, because the stomach is not acid enough, the flap on top would think, well, there's probably more food coming down, so we better keep it open. That's when the food it cannot go down, so it push up. That's how you get the heartburn.
Belching. What does belching indicate?
Belching is more to do with liver. It's also part of the digestive issue. Yeah, because again, it's this same process. So when you cannot go down, the pancreas didn't get the signal to reduce digestive juice. And when the pancreas doesn't do the job properly, now the next step would be the gallbladder and liver. Because the gallbladder rely on the signal from the pancreas to say, hey, it's time to release the bile to help me digest the fats from the food. So that's why when you suffer from acid reflux and you start taking all the antacid, the Prilosec and all that, you're completely, everything down the road is all messed up. And you would know already if you are taking antacid, and the problem is never resolved. And you have problem more and more and more. Keep adding it, right?
Yep.
So
Bile is alkaline?
bile, okay, bile is digestive juice, pancreatic juice is alkaline. Okay, the bile rely on the alkaline signal to release. Yeah, bile is alkaline, I think. Yeah.
What happens if you don't have a gallbladder?
Well, that means that you will never really produce sufficient and good quality of bile to digest the fat, because the gallbladder is actually a tank. It's a storage tank. The liver produces bile and then put into the bile and then wait when you eat to be released. But when you don't have it, the liver produces, you just keep going through your bile duct, and you never have accumulate enough amount of bile. So when you eat the fat, that's when you say, oh yeah, it's hard, it's just sit here, it's hard to digest, or even sometimes people will poop out those very fattening poo, or even, you will see the poo kind of floating on top of the water because of too much fat, that the fat is not breaking down properly. Yeah.
So, I learned that was fat, so are you saying that, where does the bile end up affecting the fat? I can't remember.
Because fat, bile is kind of like a solvent. So imagine when we make the salad dressing, we always combine fat with lemon juice or some kind of vinegar, right? We mix them up and then we shake it, it will kind of emulsify. That's kind of like a bile. So if you only take fat, our body cannot absorb it and utilize it. It has to be broken down into fatty acid. And you rely on the bile to create that, salad dressing effect. It becomes emulsified and then it can be abstracted.
It's funny because we're in a spiritual space here, and I find that I do things that my body wants done without me really knowing it. So I've been using a lot of, when I cook, I use a lot of olive oil, but I'm finding myself wanting to combine that with balsamic vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like what you're saying, you're having acid with fat.
Mm-hmm.
I would just want to do that.
Yeah.
I just don't know why. It just tastes right, or feels right.
And there's a lot of, ancient wisdoms in terms of food combining as well. Like, certain food you always, mix or combine with certain food. And there's a wisdom there because that's the best way for the body to accept and digest. And so, yeah, definitely there's some intuition there. Yeah. And then that intuition, very important, it comes from our microbe. Yeah. And so just imagine this now, if you look back, learning and understanding all this, and then we still try to fight the germ, try to fight, the bacteria, try to fight the virus. I'm just going to give you a, just opportunity to think about that. I'm not saying that we're not supposed to protect ourselves, but I'm saying that is there other way to deal with the issue than just being, oh, we are so afraid of this, we should all just, cover up or not going out instead of just strengthening our terrain, our body, because that's the way to go. I thought I want to say something earlier. It's very important. Oh, so when you go home, I would hope that I suggest you get rid of all the antibiotic soaps. You really don't need that because you're really just removing all the protection that you have. Now, all those microbes in our body, the 40,000, they're good guys and bad guys. We need the balance. We need to have bad guys because the bad guys keep the good guys, how do you say that? Active, exactly. Because the good guys will keep the bad guys in check. We don't want all the bad guys, but we need a good right ratio so that what we try to do is really create a ecosystem that everyone's living in harmony. It's not that we want to eliminate a certain, species. So that antibiotic soap is really, really a bad idea. I would encourage you just use normal soap. Just go back to the grandma, era. Just using it doesn't have to be fancy. Just soap, but no antibiotic in it. Okay. And try ground every day in your backyard. Now is a perfect time to do it. It's so nice and pleasant outside. Just sit in your backyard barefooted for half an hour. I want to talk about probiotics again. So how do you replenish after a course of antibiotic? There's a term we call rewilding. Rewilding. So instead of taking your probiotics, or you can take iron, definitely, because iron will give you the environment, but we're going to encourage you to go to your backyard, again, barefooted, grounded, or just be in the nature. Gardening is a very good one without the gloves, of course. You want to be in contact with the dirt. Hug your trees, tumbling on the lawn or grass, clean one, the one not being sprayed, all those kind of things. Or if you have the luxury to go travel somewhere, walking on the beach, swimming in the beach, swimming in the lake, those are even more efficient way to replenish the microbe in the body than just taking the probiotic, because that's what the study shows to us right now. Yes.
Lately I've been intuition. Maybe this intuition, I'm not sure. But I like every morning to get up and go out into the garden. And I like to see how all the plants are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to talk to them.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And I think talking to your food is a good thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we don't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I think ritual's a real good thing too.
Yes,
You know,
I agree.
It's like praying.
Right.
It's just,
Right.
It's showing gratitude.
Right. Yeah. I mean, with all the so many environmental factors that kind of push us towards a kind of sounds like a downhill path. I would like to go back to the unity teaching, that really that intention, that our mindset can help us get around a lot of things that's not working for us or working against us. But it's not an easy work, because we all have those patterns that we're so used to, right? And then even that we are spiritual people, we often, without knowing it, going back to our old pattern. And that's why, we need not just spiritual practice, we also need to do all the things, like everyday things, right? You have a healthy lifestyle choices, you eat good food, and you get sun, you grounding, all those kind of things, because that would kind of help everything altogether. Yes?
Over the last few years, I've changed the way I've said grace. I was raised with saying grace before each meal, but I've changed, instead of just saying thank you for this food or being grateful for the food, I bless the food now. I bless this food to the strength of my body.
Yes.
And it makes me feel better. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
Both emotionally, mentally, and I think my body feels better too. I think the blessing the food with the divinity that is within us makes a difference.
Oh, yeah. I think, did I mention it last time? Because our body is 70% water and 99% water molecule. So when we say prayer to the food, we're actually changing the structure in the water in our body. Because last time we talked about the life force in food. Dr. Emoto, who's done the water experiment, our consciousness, our intention does change the water, and so that's why, it's very important. Yeah.
I have a little question. It doesn't have to be a big answer, but we'll see if you have a little answer for it.
Okay, sure.
Okay. The hydrogen bottles.
Okay. Well, I use one myself. The hydrogen gas is very, very beneficial to the body, because hydrogen is the tiniest molecule in the universe, and it's also the most abundant molecule in the universe. What hydrogen gas can do to our body is really, it acts as a super antioxidant, and when you drink water with the hydrogen added to it, it really just, the wisdom of the hydrogen, it will go pull out all those bad oxidative stress in the cells, and it will leave all the good parts alone. And so there's intelligence in it. So the answer is yes. Hydrogen water is a good thing. Don't do the alkaline water. Okay, there was a time that people were so popular because that alkaline water, once you drink it, it really dilutes your stomach acid. That's a bad idea, okay? But when you take alkaline forming food through fruits and vegetables, it works very differently in the body. It will naturally alkalinize in your body and in your environment without compromising your stomach acid.
One of the things my grandmother used to do is
When my grandmother would make pasta with a red sauce, she would take baking soda and put it in the red sauce to neutralize the acid. And then she would put cinnamon in. And it, I like it. I don't know if it's, I don't know if I'm taking away the acid I should have, but
why did she do that? Is it because she cannot handle the acid from the food?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a Band-Aid. Just like the acid reflux, if you go to a naturopath or a functional medicine doctor and say, oh yeah, so the causes of you having too much heartburn is because you don't produce enough. So the Band-Aid approach would be giving you the digestive aid, right? Your digestive enzyme or the bile salt to help break down, and you will feel so much better right away. So the other thing, which is free, that you can do at home is just you supplement with apple cider vinegar before each meal. The dose is 1 teaspoon to 1/3 cup of the warm water. Do warm water. That would help prepare your stomach for the food that's coming in. So do it like a half an hour before mealtime. That would fix it. It'll make you feel so much better, but it's not fixing the root cause. So in my line of work, we ask why. Why do you not produce enough acid? That's the issue we want to address, because that means your gastric acid is not producing it. And then oftentimes we found it's because the stress, a lot of stress, because when you are in stress, fight or flight mode, the body thinks that whatever the sandwich that you have for lunch is not important. So I'm not going to digest it right now. I'm running for life right now. So it won't produce that. And then the other couple reason is the toxin, the very high toxic load. The people that need to detox, or they have parasites. And then the parasites, most of these, as a result of a high toxic load and a very acid terrain. Yeah. So we will tackle those. Any question? I hope I can adjust. Oh, so if you feel like you have the digestive issue, and then just the apple cider vinegar or digestive aid alone doesn't help, you need to really change the diet. We often say that we don't mop the floor until we turn off the faucet. So the first few foods that you need to really remove from your diet: sugar, gluten, from all the wheat products, dairy, and these are all super inflammatory, and then the seed oils, any kind of seed oils. These are very pro-inflammatory. You already are dealing with the leaky gut, and we just don't want to, keep adding the insult to it.
So what kind of oil should we be using? Olive oil?
Well, olive oil, yes. Extra virgin olive oil is great for salad, right? And you don't want to heat it up. And if you want to do a sauteing, I suggest using avocado oil or coconut oil. Yeah, the rest of the oil, they all rinse it already by the time before they hit the shelf. And so that's why they have to keep refining it to deodorant, and then decoloring, whatever, just like a lot of refining process. So they're already all rinsed, so don't use it. It doesn't matter what kind of vegetable oil, canola, all the seeds oils, sunflower seeds oil, soy oil. Yeah, they're all bad oil.
But avocado oil?
Avocado oil is good. Yeah, it's very similar. The structure is very similar to olive oil.
Can you use coconut oil in place of like vegetable oil when you bake?
Yeah, it's
Can?
perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
coconut oil is perfect for baking.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for frying, say sauteing and things.
Sauteing, just use avocado oil. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Any more questions?
This is just an offering. I have a extra grounding book that I'm willing to get rid of because I got a second edition. If anybody wants it, I will give it to you.
Oh,
A book on
yeah.
grounding and all the ways you can ground.
Mhm. Yeah. And during the cold days, there's
Yeah,
now
that
grounding
kind of-
products, a lot of them out there. Yeah, you can take advantage of it. But the best way, really, even I use grounding mat myself because I'm constantly working in front of the computer. I really need to ground it because what grounding does is really, it just really drains the excessive electrons in your body down to the earth. And when we're pretty much, every single one of us is overcharged, literally. So if you cannot do the grounding in your yard every day, at least get a grounding mat. I have a grounding mat in my bed that I sleep on all night long.
I missed the amount of time you should be.
30 minutes at least. So if you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, you have all the metabolic syndromes, you go ground 30 minutes every day. Within that 30 minutes, your blood sugar, your blood pressure will all come down. But you have to continue doing it consistently to eventually bring that down.
Did you explain what grounding really is?
Grounding is skin contact with the earth. Right, right, yeah. Because we are all bombarded with all kinds of things that make our body create a lot of oxidative stress, which is the positive ion. But the earth provides us with negative ion, and so we want to drain that extra, the oxidative positive ion down.
So if we sit in the yard, is that good?
Yeah, sit in the yard and then just barefooted.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But make sure you don't spray on your yard.
Right, yeah.
Since I can't ground
Right.
outside very easily, do you recommend some
Grounding
mats? 'Cause
products?
I looked at grounding mats before.
Yes, yeah, you can do it. So I often recommend clients to get the one, you can get it through Amazon, it's by Cleaning Over, because he was the one who really rediscover grounding. And so he's been the one who's pushing the movement.
What was his name?
Clint Over, I believe, Ober, yeah.
I think I
Yeah, so he
that's where
runs.
I heard of it, so.
Yeah, he runs Earthing Institute. So you can look up Earthing Institute as well. You will find all the studies there about grounding
There's a
worldwide.
documentary too that's awesome. Look it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
I think
Watch
it's
the
called
documentary.
Grounding or Earthing.
Earthing. That's all? Yeah, I hope you learned something today.
You are such an inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
I turned it off.
Oh, so actually I forgot. I think this is a very important conclusion. I would like to bring the message across. So, yeah, if you can, well, I'll read it to you. Declare war on microbes, we declare war on the underlying living structure of the planet, on all life form we can see, and on ourselves. And so we become our environment. As we invite the microbial population, we share the earth to enter our diet and our intestinal ecology. So I think, if you don't get anything else, just remember we are part of the nature. Health is really finding the way back to the nature. And once we do that, a lot of things will be resolved. I mean, there will be a process, of course, and I'm here for you. If you have any questions, just come to me, ask for it.
Is there a fee contribution or anything?
Yeah, I guess there's a